All right. It's Monday. Monday. Fun day. I've finally got this drum reheaded. I was using this drum as the left side snare on this kit for all the Jeff Taylor gig prep stuff, and I took it to the gig and I played it. I should probably stop the scrolling cameras. Check this out. This is my left side snare for the, whatever, it's been a month while I was preparing for that show. We had that show on Saturday. It was amazing. I had this drum detuned with a ching ring or a dream crop circle on it. That head was completely shot. So yesterday I decided, let's finally get this drum back into the more where it's supposed to be. And I happen to have an Evans calf tone head laying around. So I figured, why not throw that on here? Since this is supposed to be kind of an old school vintage style drum, modern made of course, why not try the calf tone? I haven't tried that on here yet. This drum is made by Bucks County. It is my signature drum. It is a 6.5x14 with black diamond pearl finish, relic hardware. So these are solid brass tube lugs and clips, steel single flange hoops. They've all been stripped of their chrome and relic. Even the throw off has been relic in the butt plate. It has a mahogany gum shell, 10-ply, I believe. So it's like alternating layers of, maybe on this camera, you can actually see what's happening. Sort of. It's in 2-ply layers. So there's 2 plies of mahogany, 2 plies of gum, 2 plies of mahogany, 2 plies of gum. Looks like 2 more plies of mahogany. So it's sort of like mahogany, mahogany in the center, inside and outside, and then gum in between those. I don't think anyone's doing mahogany gum shell. This thing's a beast, so I want to spend a little bit of time with it today. I got it tuned where I think it's comfortable. A little bit yesterday I was messing with it. I don't even know what pitch it's at. I was just kind of getting it high and then backing it off till it kind of came to life. So let's hear this sucker. I will tell you where it's tuned right now. Bottom head, F sharp as always. So the fundamental is it's basically an F sharp 184 hertz. The tension rod tuning on the top is it's like a flat C sharp 272 hertz. So it's in between a perfect fourth and a major third interval between the 2 heads, which is where it sounded cool yesterday. So here's what it sounds like. Hey, thanks, Connor. Yeah, I'm loving the way this kit sounds. It's in bebop world, but these drums, since they have the thicker semi-solid shells, they're kind of like an aggressive bebop sound. Kick isn't super high. But pretty boomy. Toms are pretty tight. But the snare is loving that kind of medium, little slightly sloppy, slightly honky. Honky, man. Woo, my English. And the wires are a little bit looser. Yes, there is a huge semi-solid Bucks County kit on Reverb right now with concert toms. A friend of mine has got his eye on it, so it might go if it hasn't already. I think it's a big kit too. 13, 16, 18, 24 with a set of 3 concert toms and a matching snare. Massive drums. My favorite studio kit. Oh, I got this thing scrolling again. My favorite studio kit in the other room is a 13, 16, 18, 24 semi-solid mahogany. I think it's mahogany, maybe poplar. That thing freaking rips. So that's a hell of a deal. If anyone's looking for an ultimate high-end kit, go snag that sucker. All right, so Divine Music, what's up? Perfect tunings, thank you. These drums do it for me. So I'm gonna I was talking about the snare wires. It sounds better to me with this one being a little bit raspy. When I tuned it up to get rid of the sympathetic buzz, it's cool, but it kind of doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna bring up the tension on the wires to get rid of any sympathetic buzz. I mean, that just ain't gonna work unless I'm doing like 3 camps. Somebody might like that, but I like it being rattly. You can hear that. It goes through, like when I was really choked, it doesn't sound good. There's a spot with tight wires where it starts to sound really good. It gets kind of fat. Right there, that's pretty cool. And that's probably where I would keep it for quiet gigs, jazz gigs, and maybe even for recording. Let me turn this off, okay. It just sounds really nice. Articulate, but dark and kind of fat. I have a session on Wednesday with the local band that I work with, and I packed up my old Leedy solid walnut to take to that, but I think this might go instead. I wanted to keep this in here for streaming, but that just sounds cool. And one of the songs we're doing is a 3/4 kind of thing. It's kind of killer. So make a mental note. Tight wires is cool. Let me back off the wires again. That's the sound that I was hearing in my head when I was working with Chris to design this drum. Kind of sounds like an old 50s, you know, concert snare, sort of. Similar to the WFL Pioneer that I rescued, 6-lugger, that I rescued from a high school orchestra pit that was going into a dumpster. That's the sound I wanted. Old, raspy, dry, super dark. Not something that most new drums do. The calf tone is actually sounding nice too, which I normally don't love on snares. So I'm digging it. I'm digging it kind of loosey-goosey, wide open, all the vibe. Mike, what's up, man? How was the gig? The gig was amazing. We played at a place here called the Government Center, which is a record shop, coffee shop, bar, all connected. So on the weekends, they in the record shop, they move some of the bins out of the way, and there's a stage in there, and they have bands play. Super cool. The bar stays open. We played after a really cool experimental project with like samplers and sequencers called Spices Peculiar. And before Steve Ippolito, a drummer here in Pittsburgh, his band, Continuum Band. It was amazing. It was fun. Stage was super freaking loud. So I had to play rock and roll aggressive at a low volume, which was challenging. But it went great. Jeff Taylor's an amazing performer. It's kind of like it's a wild ride once you get to going. But it was super fun. I had to play, I didn't have to, but I played on Steve's drums, which were more like this. So I was playing, again, indie rock on like more of a bebop / fusion kit. I did take my snares and cymbals, but it was super fun. Hopefully do some more. I didn't film it or anything, but there might be some clips floating around. But I was happy to get through it so I could get this drum back into regular rotation, not just as a side snare. So that is tuned medium-ish. I don't even know how to define this stuff. Let's get the pitch again. Yeah, it's F sharp. This side snare here is rattling. That's what you're hearing. So I want to take it back up to the G sharp where I started, and you'll hear that it kind of loses its coolness. It just starts to sound like a tight snare. Pardon the squeaky lugs. These are intentionally not lubed up so they hold tuning. All right, that's a G. Gotta go up a little bit further. Also, these single flange hoops with clips, by design, they're not really meant to be tuned super high. All right, that's back up into the super high, the very high. Not as high as it can go, but as high as I ever tune a drum. Because any higher than that, it just sounds like a tin can. Yeah, next time, don't worry about it, man. Hopefully we'll play some bigger and better venues moving forward. This is a pretty lo-fi. It was awesome, but pretty lo-fi kind of setup. Okay, so that's super tight. For me, I didn't realize the reverb is way too loud. Okay. Sounds cool. Doesn't really have the vibe. Much less sympathetic snare buzzing now because it's tuned higher than the rack tom. I mean, it's cool. It reminds me, if you're a fan of Elvin Jones, his later years, that's what this reminds me of. Let me try to tighten up the wires. I mean, it would make a nice concert drum at that tuning with some dampening. I don't know that I love it with tight wires and dampening for drum set. Let's see. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's giving me a little bit of like, I mean, hard bop, Jimmy Cobb kind of sound. It makes me a little uptight when the wires are that tight. But if you need control, that's it. I think I'm gonna back off the wires again. All right, I lied. I think I love it tuned tight too. John K, thanks, man. Glad you dig it. Yeah, I like half tones on some toms and bass drums. I've never really dug it on snare in most cases, but it might be the right head for this particular drum. Let's hear some brushes. See what this sounds like. I think there might be some videos coming out of the gig. I think Ippolito had a camera going throughout the night, and then there were a few people in attendance that had filmed some stuff. I deliberately didn't film it. I didn't want to have to worry about cameras. And also, as I've said before, live shows don't translate to social media very well. It's a different experience, different level of production. even listening back to the clips that I saw shared, it was nice. It sounded close, but you're just missing all the air and the energy in the room. You're just hearing like the attacks of the sounds. Even the headline band, the Continuum project, or Continuum band, they were putting out so much sound in that room. It was like just a bed of sounds. And I heard some clips that someone had posted, and it's like, it's just, all you're hearing is just the attack of the notes. You're missing all that experience. So I didn't film it. There might be some clips that come out, and I'll share them if they do. What's up, Wade? Yeah, we talked about mahogany poplar. I was originally, because I'm a big fan of the maple gum shell that he used to make my microbop kit. Big fan of that. So my first request was, why don't we do a maple gum signature snare? And he had the idea of, well, if we're going to do a relic thing, let's go with mahogany and try gum and experiment. So I think this is the first one. And it sounds amazing. Old World cymbals. Yep, Nicky Moon, Old Worlds. 22. Big bell. Probably medium thin. 20. Regular bell, thin. 18. Regular bell, thin. 14 hats. Probably a thin over a medium thin bottom. Love them. They're really starting to settle in too. This crash in particular is really starting to come to life. Okay, brushes on this thing. Way more kind of fast on the swishes. I mean, that's just talking about the drum. The drum has nothing to do with that. The head doesn't grip as much as a regular coating. It's a little bit smoother. I mean, it's a deep drum, and it's nice and responsive for brushes. That head sounds nice and smooth. It's cool. I think that'd be good again. I'm digging it. While I have a lot of you here, I am going to finally start like structuring these streams and come up with a curriculum. And because before I was just getting used to the technology and just trying to get on here every day, and just whatever I was working on that particular morning or needed to work on is what I would stream. Any requests? Any specific topics? Lesson material, more gear stuff, demos, performances, whatever. Let me know. You can drop them in the chat here, or hit me up on Instagram, Mike Dawson Drums, or email me. What's the best email? homestudiodrummer@gmail.com. I can keep that one pretty clean, so you won't get lost in that. So yeah, I need some, if you know anything in particular you would like for me to do on this channel, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I do have some curricular ideas I want to maybe try, which will force me to practice some specific stuff. So yeah, let me know. Meanwhile, I'm going to mess with lower tunings on this guy. So that is G sharp, pretty high. Yeah, I could keep working through the Jim Riley play-along tracks, and there's his earlier book too, Song Charting Made Easy, has some great play-alongs. We definitely do that, and I'll kind of do like a mock session of how I build parts. I have a bunch of tracks to record for friends and artists, but I probably shouldn't give away their stuff before it's out. Connor, maybe an episode on what a professional drummer should be able to play rudiments and speed. That's a good idea. You mean chops-wise? Like what kind of tempos I think a quote-unquote professional should be able to handle? I can definitely do that. What I could do is go through like set lists that I have to play and figure out like where's the tempo breaking point for some of that stuff. Yeah, I think rudiments, I did a whole bunch of stuff on rudiments for Drum Factory Direct, but I should revise those. At one point I was going to, and I'm going to take those practice pad lessons and then how do you apply those rudiments to the kit? That was the next phase. Adam just had a recording session on Friday that showed me that while it was a simple song, I still didn't lock in where all the fills should go. My advice on that, if you have the time during the session, one take, no fills. Just if there's stops, play the stops. If there's hits that you have to play with the band, play the hits, but no fills. And then listen back and assess, like, do any of these hits or stops need a fill or section change, need some sort of setup? Are you craving something? Does it need to outline a transition, or does it need just some variation because the song's super repetitive or something like that? Or does it need to interact with the vocal in a certain way? I do that often where I'll just play the main grooves, no fills, and then have it be forced upon me when I listen back. Like, it needs to have something, let me play something there. Because if you listen to a lot of the great drummers who played on classic records, there's a lot fewer fills than you might think. Bernard Purdy's a great example. Fewer fills than you might think on a lot of stuff. Rick Marotta, listen to Peg, Steely Dan Peg. I don't know if there's a single fill except for the to get into the groove. I think that might be the only fill. So listen to Peg, Steely Dan Peg. You can listen to Steely Dan Asia, top to bottom, and aside from the Steve Gadd craziness in the title track at the end, there's not a lot of fills. So that's what I would do. One take with no fills, or only the essential things that you have to play to not blow through the arrangement, and then just build from there. All right, all good ideas. Yeah, less fills always, especially if it's overdubbing. If you're kind of in the moment, improvising with a band, or like, you know, the parts will interact in a way that might be cooler. But if you're overdubbing, you're just going to take up all the space. I think there's vacuuming going on upstairs. My apologies. So I'll do that. I'll do more mock sessions. I will do a sort of technical assessment. Yeah, the Eagles, definitely a great example. Doesn't hurt that Don Henley is singing most of the leads, so he knows where not to play. So I'll do that for sure, and then I'll keep demoing gear as it comes up. So that's tuned high. Let's mess with lower tuning and see what happens. So I'll put the everybody's favorite tune bot on for reference. There we go. That's a half step down to G, which took, I think when you're at that high of a tuning and you start detuning, it takes a while for the head to loosen up and disengage from the bearing edge. So that's just a half step lower. Let's see what it sounds like. Sounds pretty cool. I think I liked it better at G sharp. So let's go down another half step to F sharp. It had already loosened up. I thought that would happen once I played it. The head would finally disengage a bit. So it's almost at an F sharp now. All right, there's a perfect F sharp according to this machine, and it right here is where I heard the tone open up and the shells start to vibrate more and it's starting to sound more like a in this case like a conga. These drums on the rack is vibrating. I think that's this drum's happy place, but let's just keep going down to F. That's getting into Steely Dan world for me. Rick Marotta, which I love his snare drum sound on Pig. What's up, Frisco? Good to see you. It's been a while. Been a little bit sporadic streaming because I've been super busy. I was on the road a bunch, doing some guest lectures and rehearsals and all kinds of stuff. So be back a little bit more regular here. Oh, my dentist is asking for a review. How about that? That is session drummer dream for me right there. Punchy, quick, has a certain like character to it. It makes it more distinct than just your run-of-the-mill whatever, Superphonic. That sounds cool. And dampening wise, it's a little piece of, what the hell was this? Like faux leather, like a 1 by 2 inch piece of faux leather with a little bit of gaffer's tape. So I set the faux leather on the head and kind of gaff it more to the hoop, a little bit on the head. So it has a little bit of play to it. I'm loving that. So that was F. I don't know if it's going to go any lower and keep any kind of quality of sound. Let's try an E. Yeah, it's starting to fight me a little bit. But that's an E, so it's probably about as low as it's going to go. I mean, these toms are tuned way too high for this type of sound, so I just need to dampen them up a bit, put something on them, keep them from ringing. Hang on. There we go. That should keep that one from ringing. Put my phone on this one. There we go. Again, if I'm going for vibe, old, crusty, super indie, a lot of ribbon mics and stuff like that, that is super cool. It also smacks pretty hard at that low of a tuning. I would not be able to play my old WFL that aggressively. It's exactly what I wanted out of this drum. Was an old, one second, getting blown up here. An old sounding drum. What? Okay. I wanted the vibe of my favorite old vintage drums with way more modern capability. More volume, crisper attack, easier to tune, more stable tuning, and this does it all. I will never take my 50s WFL 6-lug Pioneer out on a gig or out of my own studio. I just won't do it because it's just too unstable. Throw off sucks, the tuning is hard to manage, and it just has a limited kind of thing that it does. It sounds great, tuned the way it needs to be tuned, played a certain way. I think I can get a lot out of this guy. So whether or not you want to get this exact drum, which is available, you can get this over at Bucks County. Something of this sort, I think, is important to add to your collection at some point, especially if you're going to do a lot of recording. Because it can cover all my dark, old school snare drum sounds without the headache of having an old snare drum. So, Relic Series, I guess Relic Series Special Edition. It's my signature drum. I love it. Find your own drums that you love, but this one is special to me. I'm gonna hop off because I have some bunch of work to get to. And that is it. So I've got your recommendations. I'm going to continue to do mock studio sessions. I'm going to do a little bit of a technique audit that I think is required for a professional level drumming. And then we'll keep doing some gear stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Have a good day. Hope your week is great. I'll be a little bit more regular streaming here. I might change the time up. I might try like end of the day or evening a couple times. So just be on the lookout. Make sure you hit the notification thing if you want to be notified when I'm live. And that is it. Have a good one. See ya.